All right, everybody, welcome back to, oh my God, this is so bright, the Sooner or Later podcast. I'm your host, Joey, and this week we're reviewing His Three Daughters, a drama film from Netflix. I don't know who wrote and directed it. I'm waiting to get a link.
Azazel Jacobs.
This is written by a man or a woman?
A man.
What? That's kind of crazy. I mean, I guess I could see it a little bit, but I'm a little surprised that it wasn't a woman who wrote it and directed it.
He grew up in Manhattan.
Oh,
Hey, that's where the love for the city came from. That makes sense.
it does make sense. Yeah, directed, wrote it, produced it. It's definitely his
He
project.
did everything.
This is a real Blue
Yeah.
Bayou situation, huh?
Yeah, if he would have acted,
Dude, if he was the dad, if he was his three daughters.
that would be crazy.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that would be crazy.
All right, so we all love this movie, right? Let's just cut to the chase, fellas.
I'll be honest. This is gonna be controversial. I know.
Okay.
The first 10 minutes, I did not like it.
Hey,
Then
no, I don't think it's that controversial.
Then I grew to like it.
I think this movie is a rough start. I think it's fantastic, but it is a rough start.
I think
I for
with
some
movies-
reason thought it was like an audition at the very beginning. I was like, is she auditioning for something?
An audition.
So-
It
That's
just gave me
hilarious.
those vibes.
Yeah.
the thing with movies like this, it's like a similar movie, right? Where they feel like stage, like they feel like a stage play.
Exactly.
So I can see how you felt like that first monologue was an actual like monologue versus
Mhm.
being like the start of the movie.
Yep.
I think that's a fair like feeling. I feel like a lot of people can feel that way, especially in movies that are like central set, like it's, there's not too much going on. It's all about the characters themselves. The writing is which is really important in this movie, and just the dialogue in general. Like it's a dialogue heavy focused movie. So like once you're into it and you start just like letting go and watching the movie, it really grows on you. And then as the characters express themselves, you really like see what the story is trying to tell you.
But also, I think every drama is going to be slow to start. No drama starts off fast because it always has to build the tension slowly over the course of the movie, right? And like, I had to remind myself once, like halfway through the movie, I had to remind myself, like, this isn't an action movie. It's not Deadpool, where like it opens with that dance scene and it's hot. Yeah, it ain't that. Like it's got to slowly build the tension and build the relationship, and it has to walk you through all four of these people's life stories without having anything else to like really give you that narration, right? So like it's always going to be slow. And I think like I started to hate the movie at first, but once I reminded myself of that, it's like, oh, just give it a second. Let him cook. And then it cooked me emotionally. This movie ruined me earlier. I was
in
having
the same boat as you.
tough time, bro.
And then it was getting a little too real because like with my mom and her siblings, and my mom only has aunts. I only have aunts. So and they're kind of talking about the same thing. Lisa's their mom.
Yeah,
I was like, holy, this is heavy.
And I think the older you get, the more like understanding you are with this movie. Like if I watch this movie as like a high school student, I wouldn't care two craps about this movie. But the older you get, the more you know about loss, the more you know about like family drama and stuff like that. I think this movie really hits home, and I think that's why a lot of people probably like it, is because you can relate to it in some way, and it just feels real. Especially in today's like day where families are a little different.
I think this does the blended family incredibly well. It is so beautifully put, like their emotions and the way that each sister acts towards each other. I think the addition of the two other sisters that are from the same mother having a secret language between the two of them is so powerful. I think it's so strong, and they do it twice throughout the movie, but each time I'm like, y'all some bitches, bro. Y'all suck.
They're so smooth with it, dude.
They go in and out of it so fast. Fast.
At first I was like, wait, am I all right? Something happening to me?
I'm lit.
And I think all three actresses play their roles very well. Like,
man, I wanted to punch Proxima Midnight in her damn face, brother. Yeah. I wanted to fist fight that woman so bad. I hated her so much.
You're talking about Katie?
Yeah, the older sister.
By Carrie Coon.
Yeah, Carrie Coon. But I think though, that's why the movie starts the way it does. It needs to hit you with her being like kind of like abrasive. We know what her character is as soon as the movie starts, and I think it does a good job of explaining the characters they go, like, because they all are totally different, like they are their own like people. And then you see that throughout the movie, and then you see how like they're all affected the same way, but yet they all handle it different because like even though they share like similar, well, I guess because if you're raised,
you muted. There's a spot on his desk, bro, where he just hits it and he instantly mutes. You're good now, James. You're good.
So, like, it's the nature versus nurture thing, because they all have, like, the same father, even though they technically don't. But, like, even as the movie goes, you see how much, like, that doesn't matter. Like, if someone takes on that role, like, they are your family. And because that happens a lot with siblings that are like half or step or stuff like that. It's real easy for someone to be like, oh, my dad, my mom, or even for them to be like, oh, I understand more. I have more of a say in this because the fact is they are biologically mine and not yours.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting that they like put that on screen.
Yeah, I think
I didn't even think about that until just now. The whole my mom.
Oh, really? Because she like says it. It's very explicit.
Yeah, but I totally forgot that Natasha Lyonne's character Rachel has a different mom, right? Yeah,
a different mom and different dad.
She has two different parents.
Yeah.
She is not biologically related to them whatsoever. So at first, I was thinking like, oh, okay, yeah, she has a different. I thought I was like, oh, she has a different mom. Like that's why they're different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
but then you realize that he's just like, oh no, he's the stepfather, I guess you would say, right? Is that the?
Yeah, he's the stepfather, father who stepped up, but splitting hairs.
For sure. But I think the way that they go about talking about it, because especially like in situations where a family member takes care of the loved, like, so if your parents are dying, like usually one person kind of takes care of them while they're dying, feed them, bathe them, make sure stuff.
Yep.
But then as soon as they're about to die, everyone comes in.
Everyone comes out the woodwork.
And it's easy to be like, oh, we should do this, this, and this. And for her to not like say like, hey, I've been here all along. So that's like, it's important, like her boyfriend, where he expresses some of her like emotions to them, because she's never going to do it. Even though, because
that dude is incredible, by the way. That whole scene was incredible.
Yeah. And then I like how it shows like how Carrie Coon is so like self-centered in her own world, where it's even the scene where he's just like, we've met before. Like,
dude, he dropped that bar and I was like, oh my God, they met before. And she was like, okay, well, I don't remember. And it's like, oh, bro, what do you mean? Why are you so nonchalant about being a piece of shit?
She was like, hey, I can smell it from over here. Stop drinking, buddy. Or whatever.
No, she said I could smell whatever your fucking boyfriend drank from all the way over here. Yeah.
What's also a very nice, like, subtle detail is she talks about the way she gambles as just being like, you don't have a job, you're just doing this or whatever. But then as the movie unfolds, we realize like how deep that even means to her, because they shared, that was like their love language between her and her dad. And even him is like, we used to just sit here watching games, we'd have to say a single word. So like sports in a way, that's like her last like hold to her father. And now your sister's telling you like, hey, that's a bunch of crap, when not realizing like how much that does mean to her and her father.
I mean, but like they didn't even really know him, it seems like. Like they knew him for the time that they were around or whatever, but the minute that they were out of the house, it's like they didn't know him anymore. They had no idea who he was as a man, like who he was as a person even, which is crazy.
because the boyfriend says it as much. He's like, "Well, when the last time you were here?" Like, to not know like that he's like not eating and he's only eating this. That shows
the apples,
you like,
oh man, the apples hit hard.
Which is interesting. Like, it's a good setup because you look at it like, okay, yeah, she's a freeloader. Like, now that he's dying, she's not doing anything. She's just kind of like living off of him. And also, too, this is not even really his daughter. So, like, why is she mooching off my dad type situation? Mm-hmm. But not knowing, like, no, that was them really caring about him and making sure he did eat something. Because just like children, just like alien adults, if they're gonna eat something, sometimes you just got to give them that. Like, you got to get them some nutrients.
Yeah, you'd rather them eat 1,000 apples than to eat nothing, just because you want them to eat this one thing. Yeah. So when did it start to get you, Eric? Or I guess James. So we complained about the first act for the most part. That the first act was rough to get through. Did you ever feel like there were moments of slow points throughout the film?
No. So when it first, yes, but when it first started, I also was just like, oh, okay, it's good. It's giving me like well vibes. Like, it feels like a stage play. I see why people like it, but I'm not getting the hype because I've known about this movie for a while. And I was like, okay, but then as you're watching as it unfolds, and the more the sisters start to interact with each other, the better the movie gets. I think the scenes where all three of them on the screen at the same time, and then you see scenes where they're really like coming together, especially like when they're making fun of the hospice guy or whatever.
The hospice nurse.
Yeah. Like, so at first, because the movie kind of starts off where it's kind of like Natasha Lyonne is kind of like on her own, and then like the sisters are kind of together, but they'd even Elizabeth Olsen, she bops in, bops out a lot.
Look, so I think she's trying her damnedest though.
Yeah,
you can tell she's putting her whole back into it.
Yeah, and I think she played that role very well. Like, it was super believable. Even when they have the blow up, like, you finally see it, because like the whole time you kind of know, you're kind of like, she's just like, okay, because anytime she snaps, Carrie Coon, she's just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go see Dad. Like, she's like, I hear you out, but like, I'm out of the situation. Yeah. So it's eating her up. So it was very well done to like have like subtle hints of a lot of things, and then they kind of unfold throughout the movie. So that's why it does feel slow at stuff, because there's a lot of setup of like what we're gonna do with these characters.
Yeah, especially because we don't know any of these people, and we are dropped into one of the most traumatic moments of their lives. Watching this man that all three of them say that they hold in very high regard, right? And I mean, we hear it 15 times that he's on his last leg. My man is not gonna make it through the week.
Every day old boy comes in, hey, I don't know. I don't know.
You got one day, dude.
So
and then he's just like, done.
Yeah. Can we talk about the oldest though? Because she was a little weird, right? Katie was
Katie?
Why she want him to die so bad?
I think
like the DNR thing you're saying?
But like even the conversations that she was having with old boy Angel about like, so how much morphine would he need to die, huh? How much would he need? And we wouldn't call nobody either. We'd just let it happen. It's like that's kind of weird, the way that she's speaking about her father, who is still alive.
Yeah. I think it's and I think too, because each of them handle grief in a different way. And I think what it is her way of just being like, one, she wants him to have his wishes. Like, her everything, she's like, oh, his wishes. Mm-hmm. And then I think she's just ready to have the finality of it. Like, it was just weighing too heavy. She wants it just to be done. Not for him to be dead, because obviously she would rather him be alive.
Yeah.
But to be in this gray area, I just think it got to the point where it was just too much for her. And based on her personality, that's just the way she's kind of abrasive.
Kind of abrasive?
She's abrasive. Yeah. She doesn't know how to
mute yourself.
In a non-abrasive way.
He's back.
Yeah. She doesn't know how to tell people in a non-abrasive way, like, her feelings and express herself.
I mean, yeah, I get that, and like you said, she's the first character that you talked with, essentially, and she comes off totally abrasive. And to me, I was like, oh man, I think this film's kind of gonna suck. But then, as you learn more about each sister, and me specifically, I just love Natasha Lyonne's character. I just like her as an actor in general. and the more I saw of her, and then like her interactions with the other sisters, and like you said, once all three of them are on screen, the story starts to meld a little better, and you start to know these characters actually.
So I think we all agree that like the oldest sister, she was very not likable the entire time. Like I don't think at any point in the movie did I like her or empathize with her whatsoever.
It took until the very end when she cracked a joke about what was it? She was on the Lazy Boy, Natasha Lyonne's character, and they like cracked a joke about something. I forget. It might have been the disappearing quarter thing.
Oh, okay. No, but that was even earlier, Eric. Because when they're sitting on the chair, it happened already.
Yeah.
Like
But I think which is interesting when you start to like when she's doing his obituary, where you just see how overwhelmed she is, and it's because she's just like, I don't even know what to do in this situation, and then it's just like you can tell because she is never like, even though it's kind of, I guess because they were too young, I guess when their mothers died, so now trying to deal with this as an adult.
I get what you're saying.
Not knowing how to handle the situation, because when the mom died, the dad did everything. Now they don't really have anybody to go to, and with her being the oldest, she probably feels like, oh, this is my job, this is my responsibility, and she's just cracking under the pressure. Because when she finally gets that levity where she starts to kind of be cool with it is when she brings Natasha Lyonne in, and even the little things she says, and then she's like, oh, like, oh, okay, like, yeah, that does sound like him. Like, she starts to realize like, hey, maybe I don't have to do this by myself. Because I think it's just a hard shell, and it's just like, it's a combination of grief, and it's a combination of just like, this is rough, I just want this to be over. And then you got this guy coming in every day saying like, oh no, oh yes, oh no, yes, and it's like, god dang, dude, the angel of death over here, like, what's going? And now today you're saying he is gone.
That one too, where I don't like the grief that they were giving him. Like, he's trying his best too, right? Because like it's so far from an exact science, and he's just trying to give them this. Right, yeah. I mean, he says as much, right? He's like, dude, I don't fucking know either. I'm just trying to help y'all out. And most importantly, I'm trying to help a boy out. Because y'all think you're going through it. He's not going to make it. Like, y'all are going to make it. Y'all are going to come out of this and be able to breathe tomorrow. He does not get to do that. He doesn't have that luxury, And so, like, I didn't like them giving him grief. And maybe it's just me being soft, which is cool. I'm a dope boy, baby. I'm soft. But like, I was like, he's just doing his job, dude. Bro. I mean, that is it.
See, I liked it because I thought it was a moment of like, it's one of the few moments like where you see them actually bonding and them actually like being on the same page. But like, they were being dicks to the poor dude.
Like they're shitting on a boy for absolutely no reason. So then, Eric, did you end up beginning to empathize with her? You did when they did like the quarter? Yeah, I
did.
Okay, so I'm the only asshole then. I don't empathize with her, because even at the end, there was nothing redeeming about her to me, which is fine. Like, that's cool to have characters like that aren't redeeming, and I'm like understanding the points that you guys are telling me that do make her redeeming, but I just don't feel like she did enough to make up for the bad that she did the entire movie. Like, those moments of levity are good because I didn't hate her, but I was like, I don't really vibe with her. She's my least favorite sister. I need her to do better.
Yeah, and I think the thing too is because Carrie Coon and Natasha Lyonne, like the dad says as much, where he's like, you guys are like so much the same. But from a perspective of a moviegoer, the sister that we should like be understanding more is Natasha Lyonne. So like, she seems like the good guy. The other sister seems like the bad guy, and they're the ones that are always like butting heads.
I related to Christina the most, though. I think Elizabeth Olsen's character, I was like, oh no. And maybe that's why like the movie really got me, because I was like, oh, I'm just looking at me and how I would be experiencing this situation. Like, this person who's trying to make things as good as possible, really trying to care about the person who needs it most, not these two other people, and like just trying not to get in the middle of their shit, Because I'm here for my dad. I'm not here for y'all, you know?
But I think that's what makes it a good movie, though, because I do think a lot of people can relate to one of the siblings.
For sure.
And I think you may have a different perspective on the movie, but like most people are going to like the movie, but from a different perspective, which allows the movie to be good to a general audience, because it kind of has something for a little everyone, especially when it comes to grief, because just everyone handles it differently. Like even within your own family, and like as you see in this movie, like you can talk about, you know, the two sisters that have the same mom and same dad. They're totally handling it totally different.
Yeah.
Like, so it just shows you like the different elements to grief, which is pretty cool.
Eric, who did you like the most out of the three of them?
I mean, I think Natasha's character, just because like I mean, like they try to sit you up, right? Like so that she's like a slacker, she doesn't do nothing. But like in reality, like she's the one that lives with her dad, so like obviously she's gonna be the one that cares, like takes care of her dad, and like maybe she just took a break because her sisters were there.
Right, she finally got to take a break.
Yeah, she got a break. Yeah,
because it's real interesting where they're just like, hey, we've been splitting 50-50, like, and you've just kind of been in your room, but we don't. I don't think we know the timetable, right? But he's been sick for a little while, at least for months. A long
time. Like, I mean, he's been dying from cancer.
I'm assuming so.
It is cancer, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they do give us a. Oh, I mean, yeah, he battle with cancer for sure.
Yeah, I don't think they talk about the type of cancer though.
But even so, like, even if it was for 2 months, even if it was for a month, like to have to pick someone up, take them to the bathroom, feed them when they're at their weakest point, and you know, like, and he's having breathing problems, stuff like this, the amount of times choking, those noises, because they're like some of those noises, like we've never heard them before. We don't know what noises she's heard. We don't know how many times she thought he was going to take his last breath. And I think it is like what Eric said though, where it's like she might have finally been like, you know what, hey, like thanks for taking the load off, you know. And then also too, we know that she feels like this is her dad. Like she's like, this is my dad, point blank. But the thing is, we don't also know how when they came in, if she was like kind of doubting herself and being like, okay, it's your dad, I'm gonna let you guys take over now type situation as well. I think there's a few things that people are gonna read into this movie and like certain like why the characters did certain things, because we are just thrown into it and there's so much we don't know.
Yeah, even at the end, we still don't know. Like, there's so much just unresolved everything other than they now like each other enough and they don't have a dad.
Yeah.
That's it.
The thing that is so interesting to me is when he reads the will or the obituary, because I mean, I'm assuming we're just talking about it.
We're 20 minutes in. We're good to spoil. Okay. I've also said that he died multiple times. So.
Okay. We're good. But when he's like, oh, hey, no, like, I didn't like take on responsibility. Like, she is my daughter. Like, it's not like father. It's like he's like, but that doesn't really happen, right?
What do you mean?
Or does that happen?
No, he's like, everything happens with him.
But when he's sitting on the recliner, like dying, his body's also like looking over. Like, at what point is he?
No. It cuts. Because, like, I think the editing, I can understand why you think that through the editing, but no, like, the story about Bliss, that happened. He told them that story, you know? And so, like, it may have looked like he was looking onto himself or whatever, but no, it's just a cut. Because, like, he just got that second wind, right? And that was it, you know? Like,
because that's how originally I looked at it. But then it's like, he sits on the couch, and then from the moment they bring him from the wheelchair and sit him on the couch, he doesn't get back up. Like,
no, I understand.
I'm saying that he died on the couch.
No, he didn't die on the couch.
And then and all that monologue he's doing is what he wanted to say to them.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I didn't take it as that.
Yeah, like it's just so weird.
I took it as that just because all of a sudden the dude is like moving up and moving about, like all of a sudden. And
have you ever experienced someone dying though, Eric?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty drastic depending on what they're dying from. So when we went to go see Alex's dad for the last time, homie was dying from skin cancer. He was fucking dying. But when we got there, he sat up. He ate like a whole like McDonald's sandwich. He held the baby. He was playing with the baby. He was having a conversation with Mikey. He was up, and then literally that night he died.
See, I understand what you're saying, and I know what you're talking about, the last wind and stuff.
Yeah.
But they have like a whole thing in this Wikipedia in the end where I do think that none of that happens, but it may be just be the way I'm like reading it may.
I mean, yeah, you could be reading the words and being like, "This is reinforcing."
Yeah,
I think they laid the like you said, they laid down the foundation so that a viewer could think that it didn't happen, and it didn't happen. Because throughout the film, Carrie Coon's character was like, I know he has a second wind in him. He's strong. Like,
yeah, he's not going down until he decides he's done. Yeah,
exactly. So they say that a ton.
But that's what's leading me towards no, my man. Because think about it, like he's the type of guy who would be like, "Fuck this! If I'm going out, I'm having a beer." Like, and I'm talking to my daughters and I'm telling them the story. You know, like that. That kind of stuff is like. Maybe it's just me being more hopeful, but like to me,
I think so, because I really do think, because like I put a little passage in the little like chat part. If you want to like look more into it, like obviously feel free to, but I think it is because if he dies in the chair as soon as they put him in the chair, it's even more sad, because it's like in his last moments, all he wanted was his 3 daughters to get along and know he loved them.
The Wikipedia says that he died when he sat in the chair.
Yeah, and I think that's why. So when and then it's because he's like floating around, and like that's his last
float.
The thing that tripped me out is like he like bounced on top of like this windowsill and was like kicking his legs. Like that's the part I was like, okay, like I could believe the whole beer thing. I could believe him reading the obituary, but the thing that got me was like him being all nonchalant on the windowsill.
I mean, but it depends on how big that second wind is. He could have done that.
No, for sure. I think if it's only because the scene of him looking at himself where I'm like, it to me it's more definitive.
Right. I just thought that was an editing choice to like bring into the moment so like he's dead.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
He looked over. That's a dead body now.
Yeah. But like to me, that's even more sad. Like if he would have done all that,
right? Yeah. Go ahead. I'm
sorry. The fact, because my whole thing at the end of that movie, the way I looked at it was, he didn't even get to tell them like his last moments, like this is all I want, because all he did was said, he's like, hey, she's my daughter. This is kind of how I feel about love. I'm gonna tell you about like the love story. I'm gonna tell you like all the things I love about you girls. And because in his dying last breath is what he wanted to tell them, and then he just never was able to. And because even the story he told, or the story Elizabeth Olsen tells about like death not being like like glorious and just so sudden, is because in movies try to make it like romanticize it, but for them there was no romanticizing, because he didn't have that moment to tell them all the things he wanted to tell them. He just dies.
Yeah.
Which I think is so
you're right, because he kept on saying, that's when he reveals that Natasha Lyonne's character and Carrie Coon's character are like one and the same. And he said like, I wish you guys would have seen that, because he wanted to tell them, I guess. You know.
But then how does that contribute to them having a positive relationship at the end of the movie? Like if none of that happens,
for sure. Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying.
Like nothing gets resolved. You know what I mean?
Correct. Which is why why I understand why you see it the way you see it. Because the way I looked at it though was he dies, and then now it's kind of done, and then they can have a moment just to kind of like the weight's off their shoulders, and they are confined to each other because they are sisters, and they're just kind of like in the moment together. But it's weird because it would seem that everything he said is what put them together to that moment, you know, and them sitting. But it's like they also all sit on the chair, which is like the moment where they're actually all kind of like letting him go. I understand what you're saying. I can see how people see it that way.
I think him being dead and them still having a positive relationship is a worse ending. You know, because it just doesn't make any sense. Sitting in a chair isn't going to save your relationship with your sister, but like your dad telling you something like that will save your relationship, right?
Yeah.
Or even if they found a note or like a journal that had it, and we find out that that's them reading it and they're imagining the monologue together. that would be better than this because it just doesn't make sense.
See,
and
but
like, I'm agreeing with you guys at this point. I'm agreeing that he did die when he sat down. But now I'm like starting to dislike the movie more
because of that.
because of it. Because it's not you know, it's just not
leading
as
up
good.
to them leading up to that moment, they're already bringing their walls down. Like I think the moments where they're having like
but
when
it
Melissa
happens
also brings them together
so fast. It happens too fast. Which, like, if what you're trying to do is tell a meta story about like the power of filmmaking and how, you know, real life isn't like that. Real life really ain't like that. Yeah. You're not gonna magically just start loving an estranged sibling just because your dad died.
See, but I don't think it's that definitive. Like I understand what you're saying totally. But
I mean, how it's everybody online is saying it's that definitive. You know what I mean?
See, but I think in that moment, sure, he died and they're coming together. But in real life, even in this situation,
the long term, sure,
correct.
But even in the short term, that's not realistic. You know?
I mean, I guess it really depends.
These
I've seen enough
hated
people,
each other, bro. They hated each other.
But I've seen enough people die, and I've seen enough family in the moments right after death. People just saying, "Hey, we're putting all that BS aside," and they come together just for them just for next week for them to have the same goddamn problems. But like in that moment of death, because then everything it's real and it's heavy, and you're willing to let go of everything in that moment and be like, hey, he loved us all, like let's love each other. But I don't think their relationships are fine after this movie though. I think in time that those cracks start to show again.
I think so as well, just because like both the sisters, Katie and what's her name? Katie and Christina, they were both like, oh my God, we both never realized this. I don't know why, but like she also lost a mom. Like that's another thing we all have in common. Yeah. And like they're starting to realize that they maybe should like extend a bridge to talk to Rachel more.
But that lends credence
to being so harsh.
That lends credence to the opposite of what James is saying though.
But so, no, I think because Katie's the only one that ever really had problems, it seems though. Like everyone else is kind of like it's kind of cool.
That's not true.
I mean, Christina also was like, "I want a relationship," and Rachel was like, "I thought we already had one." Like, what do you mean?
But also, like, Rachel's also not handling it well at all. Like during her outburst, she says like, "I fucking hate you guys. You guys fucking suck as siblings." You know. Yeah. So like, it's not just Katie being the one who's a stick in the mud. All three of them have problems.
No, they all have issues for sure.
Yeah.
I just think Katie's the worst, but yeah.
Oh, Katie is the worst. I think we can agree on that one. Katie sucks. Damn, I can't believe y'all just ruined this movie for me. That sucks.
Yeah.
That really sucks.
Yeah. Because but no, I do, but I just really do believe people come together in death like that, though. And I'm gonna tell you right now
that's an anecdotal thing because anecdotally, I haven't seen the same happen. So, you know, it all depends on the people, and we don't know enough about these people to know. It's a big. I think that the long-term lasting effect of it is very Annihilation-esque. We don't know, and you can't definitively say one way or the other. You know. Because
I mean, I'm with Joey on this though. I agree with you. I think if you're treating your parents like this when they're alive still, and your relationships are like this when you're alive, I don't think death is gonna fix that somehow.
It might make it worse.
I think
especially for someone like
then you can blame somebody,
right? And that motherfucker Katie would be looking for somebody to blame, bro. She'd be looking hard for a reason, dog.
Maybe if we fed on fucking Honeycrisp instead of Fuji.
Yeah, you broke ass. Where's the Cosmic, bruh? Where's the Cosmic apples at? But yeah, I'm really sad that you guys ruined this moment for me. Because the other thing where I kind of imagine that it was real was they do a cool color thing when Natasha Lyonne's character is outside versus when she's inside. And when she's outside, like technically she is getting lit and like smoking marijuana or whatever, but like the color shifts and it becomes more vibrant and more exuberant when she's outside and like living her life, right? And when she's inside of the house, the colors kind of dim a little bit and they're a little bit sadder. But when Vincent is out and about and talking to them, though those colors are kind of cranked up again, and the saturation, the hue is kind of cranked up. So like that's what kind of led me to like this is a true moment of bliss for them because we kind of see the movie through Christina's or through Rachel's eyes, right? So like in this moment, because the colors are turned up, Rachel has experienced that same euphoria that she has when she's outside playing with a dog or smoking weed or whatever she does to like alleviate the stress, right? So that's why when I saw it, I was like, oh, like these things are linked because of the color thing, right? Yeah. And you guys are like, no, he was dead. He was dead and he hated him.
But yeah, I mean, it really just depends, like, because if you think that they had did enough prior to him dying, and if you don't think they did enough prior to, it's just like, that don't make no goddamn sense.
I don't think they did.
Because even in the end, she still, even though they're leaving, he's dead, she still chooses to smoke outside, meaning that she's found respect for her sister.
Right, but she has. A relationship is not one-sided.
Yeah, it's not one.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street, sure. You know? So like... But
like, I mean, because you figure too, even the way they're sitting on the couch in the end or whatever, the position of where they're sitting is more like they're both leaning into Elizabeth Olsen versus like the two, like, you know, because she was already was the center.
But yeah, so they've always been doing that though. They always kind of worked. Both sisters worked through her almost instead of dealing with each other. So
that also like shows like maybe they haven't fully resolved. They're just like in the moment versus the actually resolving all their problems. Yeah. Like if the dad says that though, I think they would be golden. He just never says it.
And the thing is, with all these award, films, Joey, the sadder the better for the awards.
Bro,
I think this is to get nominations.
I would have cried less had I known that he didn't actually give that speech. I would have cried less.
I thought it was cool though because I'm like, dang, okay, he's having his last win. He's telling him, and then he died. Then you find out he's dead. You're like, he was dead the whole time. It's so sad.
I never thought that.
Tell them. He doesn't get to tell them. All he wanted to do was tell them.
I was in the same boat as Jaime. I was like, oh my god, no way, he got up. He's doing it.
Yeah.
And then they show us the final shot from like, I'm like, oh, he's been dead the whole time.
Yeah.
It wasn't real.
Y'all are some fucking.
We experienced it
negative Nancy's, brothers. Because I saw it and I was like, I'm so glad he got to tell his daughters that. I love that. And then when it cut, I was like, damn, he died crazy.
Yeah, he died quick.
He sat back in that chair and died. That chair was cursed.
As soon as he sat, boom, dead.
Mm-hmm. I think he probably died after the picture. I think they took the picture and he went, and then died.
Yeah, I would even actually like frame by frame the end of the movie, but sure.
Well, it's right after the picture is when he goes, man, fuck this beta shit, and then he stood up. Yeah.
That took me out a little. I was like, no way, this dude's doing all this.
But I think that's why because you didn't know about the second wind, because that second wind really do be hitting people crazy as hell,
Yeah.
And he was a big dude.
He had a second wind.
I've never died.
I didn't die.
No, I mean,
people in hospitals have second winds all the time, and then they die. Like I'll see a patient, do a test on them. They won't be doing well. The next day, it's like, oh, they're kind of like up or whatever, and then I come back the following day and they had died.
So I never experienced that, so maybe you're right, Joe. Maybe it did happen.
So the thing that happens chemically in your body, Eric, is it's basically your brain going, "Oh, we're not making it out of this. It's one last hurrah, baby. We're going full fucking tilt. We're gonna
dump all the chemicals."
And you literally, it's a brain dump of all your chemicals to make you feel as okay as possible, and then you kind of drift off into that like euphoria state where you're like. As long as you're not in pain, like if you're suffering, it's different, but like when people die peacefully or whatever, that's what's happening is they get their second win. They tell everybody that they love them. And then your brain just goes, all right, it's game over, baby. We done out here.
But also everyone doesn't get a second win. Some people just die.
Yeah.
But
if you're 115, you ain't got no chemicals left in you,
Yeah. I thought it was interesting though, because I was like, okay, I know what Second Wind was, but I was like, this like, but also too, because we don't see him the whole time.
But you don't see him ever the whole time.
It's because you don't see him, so I'm like, okay.
And they do say little things like, "Motherfucker barely has a pulse." Like Katie be saying some wild shit in there. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I was just being hopeful. I romanticized the moment just like they did, you know.
They did though, but I think that's the point though, because they tell you movies do that, but that's not real, and then they show you in this movie that movies do that, but it's not real.
I mean,
all meta.
It depends. I don't know.
And even I was like, is he actually walking out this room? I was like doubting it the whole time too. I was like, what's going on
Could
here?
you imagine if Vince McMahon walked out of the room though?
Yeah.
Down.
You say, let me get a smoke.
Yeah.
You say,
hey, broads, I need a beer.
But like crazy bitches.
Oh no. We just find out that he's the worst. Like we find out that he was actually a terrible dad.
An abuser.
Yeah.
They left at a young age because he was just abusive and hit him like he's a drunk.
That'd be wild.
That'd be really sad.
That movie would shift. My whole emotional state would have shifted crazy.
It just turns black and white, and you see them all bruised and beaten up.
I would not know what to do. I'd be so I'd be like, I don't know. I got to turn this off.
Yeah.
So, did you guys cry though? Did this movie make you shed a tear?
No, I did think it was sad though.
Natasha, I cried when her dialogues was going on every time.
Which
basically.
One?
Oh, when she's saying like,
all of them.
No, the saddest scene to me in the whole movie though is it's Natasha when she's saying, like, this is my dad. Like you guys, because they're like, you had a dad. Like I didn't know him. This man raised me. He's my dad. Like. You know, because in their mind too, especially for Carrie Coon's character, was you had another dad, so like you shouldn't be feeling this bad about it.
And then she reiterated, "No, I never knew him."
She said that, and I was like, "You're wild as hell for that." I mean,
you're right, Joey. She's unredeemable, dude.
I think she is irredeemable. I think she's the worst character in this movie. Like, well written, but a terrible person. I cried the whole last 20 minutes. The whole time that the thing is happening with their dad, I couldn't stop. I was weeping. And Salem's
when did you watch this?
I watched it on the couch on my MacBook. And so like Paw Patrol was playing in the background. Yeah. Salem's like trying to give me toys to play with, and I can't play with them because I'm literally wiping away tears for 20 whole minutes. Like it was that last 20 minutes was hard.
You want to know why I think this movie is a good movie though? I watched this movie last week.
Oh well.
And for me to remember this whole movie and for it to still have like that much impact, because usually we'll watch movies the day of, and I'm like, dude, I don't remember half the shit in this movie. Like,
dramas are easier to remember though.
Yeah,
because
and
they
have
are
3 characters. I mean,
this story is simple, dead simple.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's so much dialogue. It's all dialogue. This movie is.
That's every drama. Other than The Road where they're just in post-apocalypse, like America or whatever, and they don't say anything, or Castaway, where they don't say anything.
There's like another movie too with where he's like the dude's on a boat the whole time. Not Life of Pi, but another movie like that.
Yeah, probably, where they just don't say nothing, and everything happening around them is like dramatic or whatever.
It's all scenery stuff,
But like it's all family stuff. Like most of the things that they say are just like menial everyday things that you have to do when your dad's dying. You know, like when a family member's dying, this is just conversations that are being had. And the super emotional parts, like with the boyfriend, are super easy to remember because my man goes full ham and he's like, you know, fucking, I'm saying it, dude.
I'm standing up for my girl.
Yeah.
I know she won't.
He stood on business, dude. He stood on business.
He didn't hesitate either. He said, you know what? I can't believe she said that bitch ass shit to me. I'm going out there and I'm saying something to her, dude. I'm saying it.
When he does the stop and come back, you know it's about to go down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when he didn't go through the door, I was like, oh, he might body slam her through that table.
And especially when he was like, oh, yeah, me and Vince used to chill. I was like, oh, dude, this dude's fucking, he's a real one, dude. Vinny loved him.
Because did love that, man.
Because they're not around to her. To the 2 sisters, he's just a random hookup that happens to be over here today. Not knowing that they have established relationship for months, if not even years, for all we know.
Yeah.
and because she doesn't seem like someone that's like traditional, like she's not like, oh hey, this is my boyfriend, or like this is my husband, I'm not married, like, because to her, like, she's like, oh no, we're just hanging out, like, but that's just the way she wants to have a relationship. And to them, because they have like husbands and stuff like that and families, they're looking at her like, why you got this random dude that you're just banging, when it's like that's not the situation at all.
Katie may have been racist. We don't know.
She
was giving off those vibes.
Was she from a hand? She lived. Yeah, that checks.
Something like that.
I thought the thing too, the scene I liked is when, because like the whole time, you know, Elizabeth Olsen, she's like, I'm the good guy or whatever, and then they get mad that she like talks about her family and stuff, and she's like bragging, like, bro, I'm just trying to let you guys in. Like,
yeah, I'm just trying to let you guys know about my family. I can't help it.
Bragging, dude.
She's not bragging, dog. This is why I don't tell you nothing, Eric. It's because I knew you'd respond like that. No, man, like, my thing is like, if you didn't hate her, you would want to hear all those positive things. Like, I crave hearing positive things about like my friends' families, because you want your friends to be happy. You should want your siblings to be happy. You want to hear about all those happy things. But it's like when you hate your life and you hate yourself, when you see your siblings succeeding, you're gonna be like, man, fuck those hoes. I hate them.
Yeah. But they all have their own. What?
You don't want to be the downer, right? And always be telling sad shit to your siblings, you know?
Fuck that.
You think that's why she never shared her complaints, or like?
No, I think the thing that her dad says tells you about that. She never felt the need to complain to anybody because she could handle it. She truly felt that she was strong enough to handle anything that came at her, which is why we always see her doing the yoga, right? Because that's the only thing that can kind of bring that anxiety and the stress down. But like, he says as much. He's like, I never helped you because I didn't think you needed it. And I'm so sorry that I didn't do that for you, because I always saw you as the one kid who had it all figured out. And like throughout the movie, that's what we've seen. She loves her husband. She loves her daughter. She loves her life. She's happy. She's the peppiest person in the whole movie, right? And so like, maybe she just didn't say anything because she was just like, I got it. I don't need to bother anybody because I already have it. You know, I can figure it out.
Yeah. Because we get little things about her that show you like, hey, my life isn't all perfect. And like, even in the moments where she tries to let them in, like, so when they're outside in the bench, Natasha Lyonne and Elizabeth Olsen, and they say about having another kid, and she's just like, oh, you know, he wants to, but it's kind of a lot. She just brushes it off. So in the moment she tries to let her know that this isn't so perfect, she just kind of like, yeah, whatever, you're the good one in a sense. So then she just shuts off. So it's like, even in moments where she tried to let them in on stuff, they were just like, bro, your life's perfect. What are we talking about here? Yeah. They all have problems. But she just seems like
everybody has problems. Like,
for sure.
You're always going to have problems. But I think a super powerful thing that you can do for siblings or people who are like sibling adjacent, right? Like, for you guys, I would want to hear about your guys' problems, because I know everybody needs to talk about their problems, right? But I also want to hear about your successes. Like, I would never want you guys to feel like you're bragging because you're like, bro, I got a sick fucking raise at work. I'd be like, fuck yeah, bro, let's go spend some money, homie. You know, dude, like, you should never. Go ahead.
I'm steady posting my gains on Shohei Ohtani cards, all right?
Yeah. But like, yeah, and it's like, I think that's how you know how truly far they are apart, because anybody who you truly love, who like truly you feel like a bond with, who you would never want to lose. It doesn't matter if every day they text you about a W, because their W's are your W's, you know? You can always feel hype about that person because you love them truly, you know? Yeah.
Because it's even like simple things in certain relationships where it's like, yeah, if Eric gets a shoe drop, that's awesome. Like, right. I don't have to like that thing. I don't have to like, if you're like, oh, I got this this thing that I really want, like it's cool. And like, but for them it's almost just like, they're like, I don't really care about this thing, so why are you telling me so much about it? And it's just like, well, because I just want you to know, like, hey, this is what's going on. Let's stay in touch. They're like,
how does this benefit me in my current situation?
Bro, yeah, and that's the most toxic fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, that whole thought process to me is so toxic and so gross. And I mean, you know, we are supposed to empathize the most with Rachel, But Rachel's kind of a piece of shit like that too, where she's like, I don't fucking care. I don't like you guys. You guys don't like me. Why are you trying to like get with me now that just because he's dying or whatever? And it's like, she's trying. I feel like Christina's trying her best with what she has to offer, you know?
And even Christina views their relationships different than they feel their relationships to her. Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, we're all good. And then even with Rachel, she's like, I want us to be closer. And then Rachel's just like, yeah, we're close enough. Like,
she's like, I thought we were close, but I guess we're not. And it's like, dude, that's not what I meant, brother. Like, I need you to work with me here, man. I need it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And I understand though when people move away and stuff, and then they have they've had traumatic childhoods because their mothers have all died. Like you know, that's a lot, especially on a young girl to not have your mother like through your developmental like ages. And that's why you can see how they've also kind of all turned out different because they're all just trying to figure it out. They're all trying to figure out how to be a woman.
We're all vastly different ages too, because she mentioned it like you were in college, doing your thing.
I couldn't get a grip on how different their ages were, though.
I think they're within 6 years with like Carrie Coon, Natasha Lyonne, Elizabeth Olsen. But then that doesn't. It's kind of weird though, because maybe Natasha Lyonne, but then she can be older because, like she says, when you went away for college, meaning that she probably was still home, but.
Or didn't even go to college and was eligible to go to college. And
that's something that's a little confusing because he got with her. So he had to get with her mom right away after the two daughters that have the same mother died, right? Natasha's mom?
Yes, they said as much, kind of.
Kind of, right? Yeah. The two older daughters, I don't understand how old they're supposed to be. I understand that Elizabeth Olsen's the youngest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
She is. Yeah.
But because she said the whole like going away thing, I'm thinking like, oh, she was still in high school while she graduated high school.
I'm sure they were close enough. I mean,
they had 2 to 4 years.
They lived in the same house together. Like, you got to be close enough if you're living in the same house together.
You got to be close enough to realize that she's not coming home most nights,
Yeah, to be cognizant of that. Yeah. All right, we're at 51 minutes. Any other closing remarks before we move over to ranking?
I guess, why do you choose this film, Jaime?
Because we're not allowed to have fun multiple weeks in a row, Eric. Sometimes we gotta cry.
Elizabeth Olsen is like obviously one, like for me. So I was like, dude, it's Elizabeth Olsen, like, and she's in a movie that I heard is good. I'm watching it. But then the rest of the cast is solid, and I heard it was getting some buzz on the indie scene. Okay. And then to me, like this was going to be the movie closest to getting like the Well type movie. So I was like, oh, if this can be half of what the Well is, it's still a good movie. Just because like grief and death and strained relationships and stuff, it hits a lot of the same boxes. And something like with Well, it's like some of these movies are tough watches. Like I don't know if I'll ever watch this movie again. Like
I don't know if I'll ever watch this.
I'm gonna tell my mom to watch this.
Oh,
no, for sure. Like I won't watch the Well again, but I wanted to have something adjacent to it to watch for the first time. Because Well's also like a tough watch.
Whale is also not ambiguous in its ending. Well, I know that's fake. My boy did not lift up his legs.
I think he was floated.
Yeah, he floated. Yeah. Just like a boy floated.
Yeah.
Vincent's actor deserves an Oscar nom, though, right?
Dude, can you imagine if it was James Gandolfini doing that?
That'd be crazy.
Doing that monologue,
I think he
bro.
He would have knocked it out of the fucking park.
Without a doubt.
I would have been crying.
Yeah.
But that monologue, that ending scene, what he does in 15 minutes is truly incredible.
I legitimately think that like it's gonna do well in the award season, like it's gonna get nods or whatever.
I think so, yeah.
Big time.
I hope that he does get like a a supporting actor nod though.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm real big against supporting roles when they're on the screen too long. I understand sometimes it's like, oh, they are supporting character, even though they have a lot of screen time. Like, I understand that argument. But to me, I don't nominate those movies personally as like supporting actor.
You don't want a Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, you're practically a lead. Yeah. And I don't like that. So for him, anytime you have limited screen time in the movie, even though this movie is talking about him, he's not in the movie until he's in the movie. And then when he's in, it's super impactful.
It's short. We get so little time with my man.
But then we feel like we know him. Like, we feel like we understand who he is as a person and why these women are grieving so hard over their father passing away, because he was a great man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so it's super powerful.
I think he deserves the nomination. I'm putting him on my ticket, and if he doesn't get it, I'm writing the fucking Academy angry letter about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna write and vote for him.
Same. All right, that leads us over to ranking. So Eric, what do you give his 3 daughters?
I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 10, man.
James,
I think you guys said as much,
James.
Yeah. I'm also gonna give it a 9. I want it to be a 10. I just don't think it is a 10. Like, I'm more in a 9.5.
Then give it a 9.5.
I'll give it a 9.5. I'll give it a 9.5.
Give it a 7.5. Fuck it.
So I came into this review knowing I was gonna give this movie a 10. This movie, to me, the way that I experienced it without anybody else talking to me about it, it was a 10. Now, having gone through this entire review, this movie is a 9 for me. Knowing that,
are we justified, or do you feel?
Are we all justified in giving it a 9? Yes, Eric. Yeah. This movie is a 9, brother.
No, he believes the movie is the way
you don't feel bad. That like it's shittier now.
No,
since we talked through it,
nothing can ever take away the emotions that I felt watching it, which is why it's still a 10 to me. I'm giving it a 10 because, I mean, Blue Bayou is the only other movie that we've ever reviewed for this podcast that I've ever wept during. When I say I cried, Eric, I cried.
Yeah.
I was crying so hard. My face was swollen. I was like,
bro, it's because your vitamin D levels are low, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't think that makes you sad.
Your moon rising sign.
Oh yeah.
That Mercury was in retrograde for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's really just because like Alex's dad's death is like mirrored this 1-to-1. It's fucking crazy. Like,
I could see that.
The things that happened and like it being cancer and stuff like that. I was like, I just experienced this. Like, this just happened to me like a year and a half ago. Like, this is crazy as fuck
totally makes
to me.
Sense.
You know,
I think also too because you have a blended family, like,
dude,
and I think that's
yeah.
So like me and like, well, Eric doesn't have siblings, but like he's an only child.
Fucking, really, yeah. Let's make fun of him for it.
But like for me, like me and my parents, like me and my siblings, we share the same parents. So like they're just one of those things I could never like. I understand what the movie was telling, but it's something I can't really understand.
Right.
Because I don't have like my siblings are the same father and mother. So someone that has parents and siblings that share different parents, I think it's very interesting for them to see this movie.
You know what's really funny? You said me having a blended family. I didn't even think about my brothers and sisters. I thought about my children. Yeah. But like, I have that on 2 different
designed.
Levels. Yeah. This movie was made to fucking ruin my ass. This movie destroyed me. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if even subconsciously you weren't even thinking about that, but then it's some things that kind of hit you. But then even too, like with your current family, like and like it'd be interesting to see how when your kids get older, how they would look at a movie like this,
right? Or even how they treat each other. Like, because this is a possible future in that branching path of how my kids could treat each other, and they could be like, one of them could be like, nah, fuck you, you're whack as fuck. Like, this movie was just made. This is a 10 out of 10 because it's like, hey, we want to make you sad. You know how you've been real happy to crack these Pokemon cards? Fuck you, idiot. You gotta suffer, you moron. And I did. I had to drive all the way to Walmart to look for some Pokemon packs. My eyes were puffy and red. I was looking like Alex fucking hit me in the face with a frying pan, bro. It was rough.
Oh no.
All right. That means that. Oh no, I closed the thing. We're just gonna say that it gets an average score of like 8.75 or something like that,
right?
or 9.75.
No, if
something
you gave
like
it
that.
10, yeah, it'd be like that, yeah. 9.877 repeating.
There you go, Eric. I knew Eric would be able to math it up. He's my little engineer.
Yeah.
And continue listening, watching, showing your support. We're hoping to build a loving community out here. We're trying to be your boys. We're trying to be your blended family out here. So keep showing up. We had a lot of people show up earlier for the stream. They didn't stay. It's late, so I don't blame them. One of them was in Iceland, and he said it's 2 a.m. I cannot spell.
Yeah, a few of them it was like night.
Yeah,
it was a morning.
But continue listening, watching, showing your support. Follow us everywhere: YouTube, all podcasting platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. We post everywhere. And hopefully next time we have a happier movie, but you never know. We could come back with another sad one.
No, we should have a happier movie.
I don't know, Eric. I could use another cry. And until the next time,
I'll pick another downer.
we love you guys. Bye.
Bye.